All praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on how, or I'm going to title this video, this story perfectly explains how we don't have free will ultimately. And when you go to Acts the 7th chapter, what you read is how Stephen breaks down the history of the Israelites, and ultimately the story of the Israelites going into Egypt for 400 years is actually a beautiful story, man, because it allows us, now that it's already taken place and that we've already seen it happen, it allows us to see that Yahweh does actually do what he says he's going to do, man, right? And how Abraham was told, your descendants are going to go into captivity for 400 years, right? And then afterwards, that people that put them in slavery are going to get judged. And we can read it actually take place, man. Right now, when the Israelites that was going through it, they wasn't told what Abraham was told. They didn't know that Abraham was told that, right? Abraham was told your descendants are going to go through that captivity for 400 years. Now, if somebody wants to say, okay, your descendants were told that, I mean, the Israelites were told that was going to happen at the time when they went through it, then just show it. And then that will still not disprove the point that I'm trying to make here anyway, that we don't have free will. And I'm going to start reading some of it anyway. This is Acts chapter 7 and verse 1, Acts chapter 7 and verse 1. Then said the high priest, are these things so? And he said, men, brethren, and fathers, hearken, the God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Haran, and said unto him, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I will show thee. Then came he unto the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Haran, and from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land, where now ye dwell. Where now ye now dwell. And he gave him no inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on it. Yet he promised that he would give it unto him for a possession, and that his seed after him, when he has yet had no seed, and to his seed after him, as when he had yet had no seed. Now, this is going into the prophecy that's mentioned in Genesis 15 and verse 13, which is always a good thing to bring up for any of these scoffers that want to try and make out like we got free will. Man, we don't have free will, right? The Israelites was prophesied 400 years of captivity before they even existed. There was prophesied 400 years of captivity before their forefather Isaac even existed, right? Israel's, literally, Jacob didn't even exist at the point when this was told. Isaac didn't exist at the time when this was told, and Ishmael didn't even exist, and Ishmael's got nothing to do with the prophecy. Ishmael's literally got nothing to do with it, but yet he was Abraham's first son, and that's the reason why I'm mentioning him, right? And he didn't even exist at the time when this thing was told to Abraham. Abraham had 0 children at all, no sons, no nothing, right? He didn't have none of that. He didn't have any. And he was told, your descendants are going to go into captivity for 400 years. And they did, didn't they? Meaning that it was not about their choice and whether they was able to fight out their captivity. No, that was all for them to, for that prophecy to be fulfilled. And all of the time when we read about in the book of Exodus, right, and we read about all the different pharaohs that were trying to postpone it. Okay, you can go, but this and that can't go. That all that postponing that was being done by them, by the different pharaohs of that time, was all done to keep the Israelites in the captivity for the set time. Now, the pharaohs that was doing this, they didn't know that. They thought that they was playing games and that they was able to store the Israelites. Oh, you're idle, that's what. But that was all being done so that they could get judged, which is the same thing that's happening right now with the Israelites that was taken over into captivity in Babylon the Great, man. All the things that are being done over to them in there, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and all the Israelites, that all the other places that they're going to be gathered as well, according to the prophecy that Jeremiah spoke of in Jeremiah 23, verse 7 to 8. And I believe it's in Jeremiah 16 and verse 14 to verse 15 as well, right? All of that was done, and all of that's being done, so that when they get judged, they ain't got no excuse. They're going to do all the things that they were supposed to do while they had us in captivity, so that they can be worthy of all the judgments that have been prophesied for them to receive for putting us in that captivity. And one of the judgments that they're going to receive, that the Edomites are going to receive, right, for what they've did to the Israelites, is that their main place that showed their beauty and what they think the way of the world's supposed to go, which is America, Babylon the Great, that's going to be destroyed. Isaiah 13 goes into how the beauty of the Chaldees. You know what? I'm going to get it. I'm going to get that one. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, which now the modern day Chaldees, now are the Edomites, right? Excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. No one ain't gonna live there no more, right? That place is gonna be at ground zero, whatever the term is, when somewhere cannot be inhabited, man, right? That place is gonna be worse than what happened to Lot's wife. Yeah, Lot's wife was just one person. America's gonna be uninhabitable, man. It's not gonna be no one living up in there, just animals. You wouldn't want to go there. Let me go back to this. Everyone wants to believe in free will, but it's just not true, man. Right? It's just not true that we have free will. Free will is wishful thinking, and free will is ultimately pride. And the fake belief that people have got where they believe in free will, like one of the reasons why people don't want to believe in free will, because Dave did things to the Israelites, right? The main thing is because of what's happened to the Israelites, in my opinion. All the things that people did to the Israelites, they want to believe that they overcame us by their smarts and by their wisdom. But really, God made them do that. Right? Yahweh made them do it. And you know what? I'm going to get another scripture on that. God made them do these things to us. All the things that they did, God made them do it. But they thought in their mind it was them. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 6, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. If Yahweh didn't give us into the hand of you nations, there was no way on earth that you would have ever been able to overcome us. If Yahweh, literally, it's like this, man. This is the way I think about it anyway. Other people can think about it the way that they want to. But Yahweh is basically like how I imagine it in my mind, man. That Yahweh's got the ability in the heavenly realm to either turn up someone's physical stats, their physiological stats, their spiritual stats, their powers, their strengths, whatever, or turn up their weaknesses in a heavenly realm, right? Which for somebody to not believe that would be weird to me anyway. But Yahweh's got the ability to just turn up individual certain strengths, right? And he does it. He did it to King David clearly. He allowed King David to do certain things at certain times that were not normal on the battlefield, right? He allowed Yahweh Shai to do many things, right? He allowed the apostles to do many things. He allowed Joab, Samson, all different men, Elijah, Elisha, to do many different things, and he can turn things up or turn things down, right? He can turn up the blessings, he can turn up the curses, and he's did that many different times to the children of Israel, right? But when he allowed Esau to take us down, he turned down our strengths, right? He turned down our strengths, turned up the curses, just turned them up, man, to where even though physically on earth it seemed like we're still the same strength, but when we actually went to fight, we weren't the same strength. And we got conquered by people that technically we should have never been able to lose to, but we did lose because Yahweh turned up their strengths and allowed them to get stronger and weakened us and turned up the curses. He poured the vial of the curses on us. He poured the wine of his wrath upon us, man. He made us drunk, but not with wine. He made us be able to lose. He took our power away. He took our power, took our power away, right? And Yahweh is our power. And that's why following after Yahweh, following after the laws, statutes, and commandments that he gave us allows us to have the authority to be the best nation on the earth, which is why nations don't want to keep the law. They don't want to make the law be the most done thing on the earth, because they know what it says in Deuteronomy 28 and 1. If everyone on the earth is keeping the law, right, the Israelites are at the top. If everyone on the earth is not keeping the law, the Israelites are at the bottom. If only the Israelites keep the law and everybody else says they don't want to keep the law, the Israelites are at the top. So either way it goes, if the Israelites are keeping the law, the Israelites are at the top, whether or not the heathen nations keep the law or not, because they are not in a covenant with Yahweh, right? So they, of course, are going to want a world where not only they are not keeping the laws, but we're not. And their main focus is to make us not keep the law. Because if we keep the law, we're the number one, whether they're keeping it or not, according to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. And if you want to say, oh, well, you're not an Israelite, okay, whoever the Israelites are, that rule still applies to them. Whether you think that we're not Israelites or not, whoever the Israelites are, that law applies to them, right? Verse 6, I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou verily heavily laid thy yoke. Right? Verse 7, and thou didst say, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it, which the latter end was that Yahweh is going to return the captivity of the Israelites, like he always has done, every single time. But they thought that Yahweh gave Israel into their hands because they're now the winners. Oh, Yahweh's just like us. We understand Yahweh. If we do this, and this sins, then we've got control over Yahweh. He can't come back as long as every single 10 years we do this, or every single 12 years we do that. As long as we every single this time do that. And as long as we follow after these procedures that these evil spirits have told us, then we can postpone and stop him from coming back. That's what they thought in their arrogance. But that was never true. Psalm chapter 50 and verse 21. These things thou hast done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such a one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. Esau was never in control of this. His arrogance made him think he was, but he was never in control. He was never in charge. Just like how, when going back to the point of the video, when you read about this story after now it's already taken place, in hindsight, right, you realize that Pharaoh, all the Egyptians, they were never in charge. And let me get this scripture here. I think it's in Exodus 9, where one of the Pharaoh's servants says, why don't you just let Moses go, man? This man just snare unto us, or something like that. He says, why don't you just how long is this man going to be among us? Why don't you just let him go, man? How long is this man Moses going to be a snare unto us? He says something along those lines. Maybe it's 10th chapter. Okay, here we go. Exodus chapter 10 and verse 7. And Pharaoh's servant said unto him, how long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go, that they may serve Yahweh their power. Knowest thou not yet that Egypt is destroyed? Right? And it's going to start getting to the point in America too, where these Americans, these Edomites, and they're going to start looking at America and they're like, you know what? This place is messed up, you know? You know what? Maybe we should just give them some reparations and tell them go back, get lost and go back to. But they might be trying to come from the Africa perspective. They might, they might have a secret meeting. You know what? Just let them go, man. Let them go back to Africa. You know what? Maybe we should just give them back the land. Yeah, maybe we should just tell the truth. But nah, they're going to be made to not do that, because then that would mean that they would not be worthy of certain destructions. They're going to be made to keep all the arrogance. Their heart's going to be hardened to keep all the arrogance necessary to get all the judgments that they're worthy of, man. They're going to be made to be worthy of every single judgment. There's not one thing that's written for Esau to receive that he's not going to deserve to have that, right? He's already been predestined to have it, but he's going to go through and do things that he's worthy and deserves it all, man. Right? Just like how Pharaoh did it. And you know what? Here's another point in this. I think it's in the 6th chapter of Exodus. Exodus chapter 6 and verse 6. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am Yahweh, and I will bring you out from under the burden of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will deem you with a great stretched out arm, and with great judgments. So Yahweh wanted to release the Israelites with judgments, all them plagues that he brought, and the great judgment of the splitting of the sea, and then crashing them to the stones, man, crashing them under the sea, man, drowning all of them. Right? Just like how he wants to judge America, which is Babylon the Great, by complete extermination, and then like, as if it couldn't get any worse. After their main hub of pride is destroyed, as if it couldn't get any worse. Right at that point, it's gonna get worse, and Yahweh Shai is gonna return, and as if it couldn't get any worse than that, Yahweh Shai is not gonna look like Russell Brand, right? He's gonna look like a so-called black man with dark skin, man, white woolly hair, and he's going to be angry. And he's going to have nothing on his mind apart from pain for all of his enemies. And he's been waiting for that day he's been waiting for that for 2 days in him and his father's timing, but 2 days in that timing is 2,000 years. And imagine if somebody did something to you and got you angry 2 days ago, and you've been waiting to try and see him again. Imagine if somebody did something to you, right, on Friday, and then now you got to wait till the weekend's over before you see him again. Mate, you're going to be planning every single thing that you're going to do to them when you see him, man. And that's what Yahweh Shai is doing. And that's why when they see him in Revelation 6, right, they're not going to be thinking, yeah, I've been waiting to see you, I've been waiting to give you a piece of my mind. They're going to be wanting to hide. They're not going to be like, I've been waiting. They're not going to be like, you're finally here. They're not going to be saying, oh, you coward. What took you so long? I've been waiting to see. I've got this new laser beam gun. I got this new laser that I've been planning for you. They ain't going to be talking like that. Even though they have made weapons to try and fight the Messiah, they ain't going to be charged up like, yeah, I've been waiting for you. Come then. They ain't going to be talking like that. They're going to be shook. They're going to be terrified, man, as we all are, right? It's easy to talk about it now, but seeing Yahweh Shai verse talking about him is two completely different things, man. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 15, and the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks out of the mountains, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the face of the Lamb. And from the wrath of the Lamb. They're going to be hiding because they're going to be witnessing all the things that's taking place in 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. The higher level elites that are not built for fighting, they're going to be hiding. They'll be like, man, I don't want to go out there. Let's stay under here. And they're going to have cameras and things like that to be able to watch some of these things taking place. And they're going to know they don't want no parts in that, but they're going to be part of it though. And them seeming like they've like survived through it. No, that survival might be worse. The surviving through that time might be worse than actually getting destroyed in that time, man. They're actually being the first captives might be worse than actually getting destroyed by Yahweh Shai in that battle, man. Who knows? You know what I mean? We're gonna find out though. We're gonna find out. Let me go back to this. Because it's a beautiful story, man, when you actually find out in the hindsight all the things that Esau did, that he was never in control, man. And all the things that the Egyptians did, well, the way how we can find it out is that all the things that the Egyptians did in times past, they were never in control. They thought they were, but the things that Pharaoh did and all them other different pharaohs, all of that was based around because of something that Abraham was told long before that time even took place. Hundreds of years before. Abraham was long and gone and dead. And that prophecy that he was told still was happening. While he didn't even exist no more, he was dead. Isaac was dead. You know what I mean? Jacob died, all of them. But that thing that was told that their descendants were going to have to go through, went through. Acts chapter 7 and verse 6. And God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that it should bring them into bondage and entreat them 400 years. Now, part of Christianity that they say is we're all the seed of Abraham. Did you all go through that? No, you didn't. Because who were the people that was putting the people in captivity for 400 years? That couldn't have been everyone, could it? Was even Esau going through that? You know what I mean? Esau is the closest relative to the Israelites. Was he going through it? Or was he a hating demon, right? That when we were coming out of it, he was killing us? What's the correct answer? A bit of trivia for you Christians. What's the correct answer, man? Was Esau killing the Israelites after they came out of captivity? Or was he going through the captivity with them? Because he's part of the seed of Abraham as well. Yeah, right, man. Verse 7. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge. So the judgment for the Egyptians was already set to. All them plagues was already set that they was going to go through those things. Because they ain't no free will. Right? Yahweh said, I've got a day that I'm going to make for my Israelites, that I'm going to make, this chosen nation that I'm going to make. Yeah, I'm setting up a day that they're going to remember for their generations forever. And this is the way that I'm going to set it up because I'm the Heavenly Father and I can do whatever the hell I want to do. And I'm going to set up a day for these Israelites, right? And I'm planning the day so far ahead in the future, like more than 400 years in the future. I'm planning this day that they're going to still remember thousands of years after it's happened. And we do still remember it. We still talk about it now. And Yahweh, in his wisdom and his knowledge, planned and said, this day right here, this that I'm going to call the Passover, right, is going to be based around all the things that was said to Abraham, right? All the judgments that they're going to go through. I'm planning this day. All of these things that he's talking about in Acts chapter 7 and 6, that's all the Passover. That's all based Acts chapter 7, verse 6, Acts chapter 7, verse 6 to verse 7. That's all going into the Passover. The judgment, that's the Passover. That judgment that you read about, that's the Passover, the deliverance. And Yahweh did that and planned that he was going to make that day for the Israelites. Literally like hundreds of years before any of the Israelites even existed. There wasn't no such thing as Israelites. And yet you Christians out there don't think that he's planned a greater day than that. That's what Jeremiah 23 verse 7 says. He's even planned a day that he's going to do that salvation even more in advance than the one of the Passover. Because that's even further away in the future. The real day of salvation where he saves the Israelites forever to the point where they're even saved from death. That was even further into the future. And you Christians think that everyone's chosen. No, man. And when you actually understand these, and the thing that's heavier is that the more that you Christians scoff and try and come up against what we believe, the more we actually really start going into the Bible and getting even more understanding. So thanks. Thanks for scoffing, man. Because it's allowing us to know the Bible even more beautifully than we did when we first started knowing this stuff. And it's allowing you to have to start reviewing and looking at what you said and realizing that you ain't telling the truth. So then you're getting even more frustrated. And now you're not attacking the doctrine. You're trying to talk about our character. But we already know our character's messed up anyway. But it's better than it was before, though. We know that. Verse 8. And he gave him the covenant of circumcision. And so Abraham begat Isaac and circumcised him the 8th day. And Isaac begat Jacob. And Jacob begat the 12 patriarchs. Why ain't it mentioning Esau in there? Because we know that Isaac had Esau as well. Why ain't Esau mentioned in there since God loves everyone? And since we shouldn't have bore Edomite? Why don't you tell Stephen that he shouldn't have bore the Edomite in there then? Why didn't he mention him? Why didn't he mention Esau's sons in there? Because everyone's a seed of Abraham, right? Abraham's the father of us all, right? That's what you claim, right? But why isn't none of the other people that come from Abraham mentioned in there? Where's Keturah's sons at? Where's Ishmael mentioned up in there? He ain't mentioned, man. They was over somewhere else doing their madness, whatever they was doing, man, in the time we was going through all of this. And the Ishmaelite that sold Joseph to the Egyptians, how comes he didn't say, you know what, we're all of the seed of Abraham at the end of the day. I'm not going to do that. We both go back to Abraham. I'm not going to do you like that. He never did that. He sold him. Verse 9, and the patriarchs moved with envy, sold Joseph into Egypt, but God was with him. And the reason why this was done anyway was to bring that prophecy to pass that Abraham was told. That's the reason. And that's why reading Exodus 7th chapter, if you understand and know the prophecy that Abraham was told, when his name was not even Abraham, when his name was Abram, you realize that we don't have no free will. And you should be viewing in your mind that all the things that we read about is the future prophecies that are coming, that all the events that are taking place, as no matter how small they may seem, all of those things were done to bring forth the prophecies that we're waiting for to happen. No matter how small of a thing seems, vegetables are more cheap here, all of that, or inflation, all of it is to bring forth what we're hoping to happen. But you Christians don't think like that, man. You think carnal. And even though there's a beautiful movement of people waking up and realizing who they are, you're viewing it as just some madness, but you can't use the Bible to explain why this is happening. Because if you do use the Bible to explain why it's happening, then your only place you're going to find it is in prophecy. You ain't going to be able to find no scoffing thing in the Bible to say that we're doing this, because you can't try and say there's many false Christs are going to raise up, because we're not saying that we're Christ. We're not saying that we're the Messiah. We're saying that we're the Israelites. And there's several places in the Bible you can find out that Israelites was going to be rising back up again and saying that they're Israelites. Ezekiel 37 is one place. Verse 10. and delivered him out of all his afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he made him governor over Egypt and all his house, and that was done. So that he would have had the ability to say, you know what, I want to make my people, the Israelites, come over to Egypt. Verse 11, now there came a dearth over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, and a great affliction, and our fathers found no sustenance. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, he sent out our fathers first. And at the second time, Joseph made known to his brethren, and Joseph's kindred was made known unto Pharaoh. They sent Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred 15 souls. So Jacob went down into Egypt and died, he and our fathers. And when they were carried over into Shechem and laid in the sepulchre that Abraham bought for a sum of money of the sons of Emer, the father of Shechem. But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which God had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt. So it's always about that, like I said. And not forget what I say, what like the scriptures said, man. Because a lot of times these Christians, they want to talk about think that we're trying to put this into the Bible. No, it's in there. We ain't forcing this to be in the Bible. And that's why we can just easily go into so many places in the Bible and prove what we're saying. Because it's in there. Whereas they have to struggle to try and make God love everyone. They're still trying to make out like God loves everyone when it specifically says God hates Esau. And not only that, he says that he's going to destroy every single Edomite. And not only that, there's many places in the Bible where when people tried to unify and become friends with everyone, God made them know different languages. So there would have been two nations. There might have been a Hamite and a Moabite. Oh, good morning, mate. Whichever language they would have been talking, they wouldn't have been speaking English. Good morning, and then good morning, and then once Yahweh put the languages up, and they tried to say good morning the next day, he weren't sounding right. So they was like, you know what, fuck this guy. Basically, it was like, man, to hell with this guy. He's chatting shit. Now that's me putting my modernized way of how they would have been talking, but that's pretty much what they were like. This guy's mad. What the hell is he saying? I can't talk to this guy. I don't know what the hell this guy is talking about. So you know what? Let's just separate to the people that we know what they're talking about. Let's just stick with the ones that we know what they're talking about, which just so happens to be all the ones of our nation that look similar to us. That's how Yahweh did it. He never just allowed them to carry on doing what they was doing. But Christianity is trying to basically do that all over again by unifying everyone. Verse 18, till another king arose which knew not Joseph, which at that point, that was when the Israelites was going to be going through their captivity period in Egypt, because they was there for longer than 400 years, right? The same dealt subtly with our kindred and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children to the end that they might not live. And that's what they did. They tried to kill us. But that was all going back again to the prophecy that our forefather Abraham was told, man. All of it, right? And when you carry on reading more and more throughout all of this, right, you find out more and more that it was all just for the sake of us getting what we're supposed to get. Yet you've got these Christians that they want to try and run at their mouth and make out like, oh, now it's all for everyone. No, it's not all for everyone, man. It's just for us. Only for the Israelites, man. And if you're not an Israelite, well, I can understand your grievance, but you know what? I don't business, because I believe I'm an Israelite, man. And if it turns out that I'm not, well, then I couldn't have done nothing about it anyway, right? But if it turns out that I am, well, then that's excellent, man. That's beautiful in my eyes. Yeah? Let me read this. There was a scripture in here that I was looking for. Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 28. Israel then shall dwell in safety alone. The fountain of Jacob shall be upon a land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, who is the sword of thy excellency, and thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee. And what's one of the liars? Oh, salvation's for everyone. Oh, there's neither Jew nor Greek. There's neither Jew nor Greek. Oh man, there's neither Jew nor Greek. There was a Canaanite woman. There was an Ethiopian woman. Oh, there's neither Jew nor Greek. The Israelites are cast away. The Israelites sinned, so they're cast away. Oh, don't abhor Edomite. Esau repented. There were certain Edomites that repented in a chapter in Mark somewhere. Oh, when it says that God hates Esau, it means he hates him less. But God's cast away all the Israelites who were the vessels of mercy forever. But Esau is not cast away for what Esau did. Some Edom. So you're trying to say that Esau gets cast away for what all the Edomites are going to get cast away for what just their forefather did. But then they don't have a problem saying that about the Israelites though. And that shows their hypocrisy. Every single Israelite in their mind is rejected because some Israelites betrayed the Messiah, which was prophecy, by the way. Again, something that they're horrified of. Prophecy, right? The Israelites betraying the Messiah was prophecy. As it says in Acts, the 3rd chapter, it says it was prophecy, right? But Christianity wants to try and make out like, oh, that's the reason why every single Israelite's rejected. But they don't apply the same thing for Esau, though. They don't say that because Esau gave up his birthright, that meant that every single Edomite was going to be hated. When really Esau was hated before he was even born. And not only him, but every single person that was ever going to be a seed line of Esau, man. Every single dirty one of them. Yeah, because they're the vessels of wrath. No matter what they look like. They could look exactly like an Israelite. Because their mother's an Israelite. It don't matter. They're an Edomite. And they're hated. Just because they're an Edomite. And that's not because of us. That's because Yahweh decided to do that. Acts chapter Salakia. Deuteronomy 33 verse 29 again. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee? Who's like the Israelites, man? What nation is like the Israelites? No one. There's not no nation that Yahweh's ever just did the things for that he does to the Israelites. There's not no other people like the Israelites. And the Israelites are beautiful and ugly at the same time. And that's why even brothers that they know that 2/3 and non-elect Israel, if you got agreements with the 2/3, let me say it this way, then they know that non-elect Israelites are going to get destroyed. But because Israelites are more kind-hearted people, man, they get bothered by that sometimes, and it hurts in their mind to know that, man, yeah, the 2/3 are going to get destroyed, or the non-elect are going to get destroyed, right? It makes them feel like, oh man, I don't like the sound of that, because like they, you know what I mean? They start feeling some type of way about it, but ultimately, it has to happen though, right? It has to happen. It's gonna happen, and you're not gonna have survivor's guilt because you made it and they didn't, because you know within your mind, oh, I've did evil things too. I've did some of the same things potentially as those other Israelites that get destroyed. You're not gonna have that survivor's guilt, and the reason why you're not gonna have it is because those same Israelites that don't make it are gonna know the things that you're gonna know after they get the judgment that they receive, because it was always about Yahweh wanting to make Israelites and everyone realize that it's about his choice who makes it or not anyway. It's about who Yahweh chose. It's not about us being great in any kind of way. Because among the non-elect versus the elect, the similar is pretty much going to be a lot of the similar iniquity and transgressions of sin. But Yahweh decided to justify one side and not justify the other. Just like how Yahweh decided to love Israel and not love Esau, right? But Yahweh ultimately loves all the Israelites, man. Now, let me go back to Acts 7 again and see if there's anything more in there on the free will topic, man, because that story of Egypt is a beautiful story when you want to understand if there's free will or not, man, and there isn't. And when you actually understand that it goes back from what Abraham was told, and when you read the whole book of Genesis from that point, all the things that was told to Abraham, pretty much, and all the stuff that the Israelites go through in that time, all of that stuff was pretty much done to get them into Egypt in the first place, so that they could go into the captivity that they was told. Right, and then you end. Let me go to this. In fact, Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with him. Every man and his household came with Jacob, and all the things that took place in the book of Genesis. Right, pretty much all of it was to establish the children of Israel as a nation, to prove that this is God's chosen. And then we go into a story that shows him confirm that they are. And then begins to deal with them and make the covenant with them. That ends up really ends up establishing that he's going to eventually make an everlasting covenant with them in the future, after they've gone through many, many, many things, which you can read about. Oh, well, let me read it, in fact, because this point here, right, that I'm going to read right here, isn't covering like, oh, yeah, this is just going to be 50 years that you're going to do this. No, this is over thousands of years. What I'm about to read right here. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. How long have we been going through the blessing and the curse, man? We ain't even finished now. We ain't even, the time, it ain't even ended yet now. Right? How many thousands of years? How many years has this been? King David went through all of this stuff that was part of this. You know what I mean? Joshua and them, the book of Judges, all of that time. King Solomon, all of Hezekiah, all of the line of Joseph. I mean, all the line of King David that went through these. This has been going on for ages, man. All of this that you read in Deuteronomy 31, all of that is going over thousands of years, man. All the different time when we as Israelites was calling ourselves different names, different terms, right? This even includes Atlantic slave trade. It includes the Native American Indians who are the Gad. It includes all of that. This Deuteronomy 31. It includes thousands of years of time. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahweh thy power have driven thee, which is what Israelites are doing right now. Nobody else on earth is doing that. Nobody else on earth is saying, we went under curses. Whenever anyone else reads the curses, they say, oh, I can read the curses and I can relate. No, you can't. You're a damn liar. None of you other nations can read the curses and relate. Because as soon as you nations get angry with us, you're quick to tell us that we was monkeys swinging on a tree in Africa somewhere. You're quick to tell us that. Oh, you're just black. Yeah, you're black. Yeah. But then when you're driving in your car and you want to listen to some rap music, then we're not that no more. You know what I mean? When you're trying to be smooth with a woman and you're trying to talk like how we talk, then we're not that no more. You know what I mean? When you go into a sports event and you know what I mean? And even when it comes to other things, when it comes to academia, you copy us. Don't try and play like you don't, because you do. We've got the books and seen how there's mathematicians that into things and that you've used them. You've used their brain to help you further your way. Verse 2, and thou shalt return unto Yahweh thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I commanded this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul. So what Deuteronomy 30:1 is ultimately talking about is the end part of all the times that the Israelites go through the curses, man. And then they return finally. It's going into the end, but it does cover thousands of years, man. It covers thousands of years, this Deuteronomy 30:1. All the times that the Israelites kept continually going through the blessings and the curses. So some of you Christians trying to mention, 70 AD goes over Deuteronomy 28:68. Okay, maybe. But so does the Atlantic slave trade as well. And you ain't going to make us not believe that if we want to believe it. If we say, because Yahweh's made us say that, we think that he's talking about that as well, then we're going to say that. And there's not nothing that you can do to stop that from happening. You don't get to tell, like, this is the problem with you Christians, and with people in this world in general. They still think that they can try and tell us everything. If we work around you on some job or something like that and you're in charge, okay, you can tell us something there. But when it comes to the Bible, though, you can't tell us nothing. We're going to believe what we want to believe from there. And if we don't want to believe it's the so-called white man's book, we're not believing that. We're going to believe what we believe from there. And we're going to make our points on what we think that the Bible is talking about. And you're either going to accept it or you're not going to. But that's not going to stop us from believing what we believe, though. And there's nothing you can do about it. If we believe when we read Revelation 1:13, verse 15, to verse 15, that's explaining the so-called black man with white woolly hair, with a deep voice, then we're going to believe that. If we believe we're the Israelites and that we're going through Deuteronomy 28, chapter 15 to verse 68, that we went through that, we're going to believe it. And there's nothing you can do to stop us. Because even you coming up against us and the mockery that you do towards us further proves that we are that people. Like, there's nothing you can do. Cry, apart from cry. The only thing you're going to be able to do is lie and cry, bear false witness, come up against Israelites and try and write in laws to try and take them out. That was all prophecy too. All of it. You're going to come in like a flood, right? And then Yahweh's going to lift up a standard against you. You're gonna be therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell them in, right? Warn to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devils come down unto you having great wrath, because he knows that you have but a short time. And you people are starting to know that there's not nothing you can say to stop us from believing this. Where our minds are set, our minds are set on believing this, because Yahweh's made us believe it. Because it's not our free will to believe it. He's made certain men that are, once they believe this, they're never gonna stop. Right? Never in their whole life existence are they ever going to stop believing it once they've heard it. Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 11, in whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestined according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his own will, that we should be the praise of his glory, who first trusted in the Mashiach, in whom ye also trusted after that ye heard the word of truth, right? The gospel of your salvation, in whom after that ye had believed, ye were sealed with that Holy Spirit of promise. Once we really was made to know that this is what it is, Yahweh's just sealed the men's minds, man. They ain't gonna stop believing it. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you say, anything that you do, it's not gonna make them stop believing it. They're gonna still keep believing it. Any scoffing, oh ha ha ha, they believe that they're this and that. It's not gonna work, man. Nothing you say, nothing you do is gonna stop the Israelites believing this. No mockery on the news, no false witness, no fake, oh, this person did this crime, that crime. None of it's going to work, man. They're just going to still keep believing it more and more. They're going to keep getting more and more bold, right? And as you people start believing less and less and getting more arrogant, Yahweh is going to turn up and prove that he exists even more. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 and verse 17, for when men will not believe that thou art full of power, thou showest thy strength, and among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest. And Yahweh is going to make it known to you people why people that you don't think should be able to talk the way they're talking are talking the way they're talking. Because there's people out there that you think, there's people in this world that they think, this guy's talking like he's bad, you know? Like, why is this guy talking like he's bad for? Well, you're going to find out why. You're going to find out why men that you don't think should be able to talk the way they're talking are talking the way that you don't think that they should be able to talk for whatever reason. Maybe you don't think the guy's rich, so you don't think he should be talking that way. Maybe you don't think the guy could win in a fight, so you don't think he should talk that way. Or maybe you don't think the guy is handsome. You don't think he's known, you don't think he's qualified, or he ain't got a degree, or he wears crap clothes, whatever, or his hairline receded, his teeth this, whatever it is. Oh, he's just a so-called black man, whatever it is. But you're going to find out why people that you don't think should be talking the way they're talking were talking the way that they was talking, man. The world is going to find it out. I'm going to read it again. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 verse 17, for when men will not believe that thou art full of power, thou showest thy strength, and among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest. The world is going to get ready to understand why Israelites was talking the way that they were talking. When they technically, if you look at it from an earthly standard, should not have been, and yet they were, right? And they wasn't intimidated by what your ideas of how the world is supposed to go were. And when they put they had strong belief that the ideas of what they say the future is going to behold were more powerful and are more certain to happen than what you thought the future beheld. And then now I'm going to end the video, man. Acts, the 7th chapter, beautifully proves that we don't have no free will. And the story of Egypt beautifully proves that we don't have no free will. It doesn't exist. It's never existed, right? Everything's in the will of your Heavenly Father. Shalom.